I just got lost because his rhythm are so great, you see, because what happened, he's playing on fractions of beats and putting stresses on different places, so that when you, I mean, if you don't keep your head on, because I got taken in with the drum, and just forgot my words.
Do you think that a teacher is not a performer?
That is the age-old question. I tell you what happened. A performer could be a good teacher, but a performer is so preoccupied preparing things to perform on stage, and even very small little nuances to play on a stage. It is extremely difficult to bog themselves down to teach him Sarigama Padhanisa. I taught for about 30 years.
You had a lot of patience.
Well, Caribbean School of Indian Music was built with we had about 200 students at any one time. And that went on for about nearly 30 years. But what happening is, since I turned professional in 2000, let's say, well, when I returned, in 1994, I actually started becoming professional. But in 2002, I eased up on teaching. Now when I teach people at a certain level.
What do you think the views of Indian classical music is in Trinidad and Tobago today?
Indian classical music has a definite place in the cultural landscape of Trinidad and Tobago. But I think I need to be very clear and precise in what I'm going to say, because there is going to be some controversy, some reaction to what I'm going to say. I think Indian classical music, its utility value to Trinidad and Tobago is to teach music. It is a medium for learning music. Trinidadians, it will take another generation for Trinidadians to be able to capture classical Indian music as it is captured by Indians from India. Because anybody will tell you, if there is not a demand for a subject, that subject atrophies and dies a natural death.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, and this point that I'm making, is going to allow a greater spreading of Indian classical music. If people learn Indian classical music and use it as a medium to create their own music.
Correct.
And that's what I have been doing. That is why my music has gotten a worldwide recognition. I told you about in 2000 when I launched my CD in France, in Paris. Within a week, that one of my songs became the top 10 in the European chart.
That was the one dedicated to your wife, Roshni.
No, that Roshni was a different, that gained some other thing. The one, Dreadlocks, became the top 10 in the European chart. Now, the point I'm making here is not to show off that, oh, I was in the top 10 in the European chart. What I'm trying to say is that a Trinidadian getting the top 10 in a European chart
is a great achievement.
Is something that I don't think has happened before.
I agree.
And why I'm saying, where does that come from? It came from the ragas that I studied in India, but I have appropriated the raga and made it into my own image in the form of a song called Dreadlock.
Fusion is a topic everybody knows you for.
Yeah.
How did you get inspired to do such?
You know, in 1974, I was helping Andrew Tanker do the music for the film BIM. And while we were doing this music for the film BIM, which by the way won the award for best film music in that year, Andre turned around and said, Mungal, you know, I now realize something. The reason we never had fusion music in Trinidad is because we had no Indian who knew music
Correct.
and who could have understood Western music enough to create a fusion of the two. Because you can't have a fusion with one thing and not another thing.
Yeah.
You have to have a fusion with several different forms of music. So that is the start. Okay, that is where, well, I always had that interest in creating a music that would appeal to anybody. Because, you know, I have a philosophy, the band follows a philosophy, my band. And that philosophy is that all men are born equal and all men have a right to enjoy music.
Yeah.
Our music is a music that was designed to please people of any race. If a Russian comes to one of our concerts, as they have done, they must enjoy the music. If a Chinese come, he must enjoy the music. If an Afro-Trini come or an African come from Africa, he must enjoy the music.
Correct.
An Indian, so much so. And this, what I'm saying here, I am thinking about examples of people who enjoyed our music. I remember doing a performance in Jamaica in 1978.
I'm sure they like dreadlocks.
Yeah, well, in those days we didn't have dreadlocks yet, but I was doing 1978. I did a performance in Jamaica, and within a week, a guy came to Trinidad and asked for me. And at the airport, they sent him. He met with Schofield Pilgrim. He met with we, and then he came here and he said, "I heard your concert last week in Jamaica, and I decided I must come and meet you." He was an African pianist. And I played a song based on Rag Bhupali, which is a pentatonic raga, 5-note raga.
Okay.
And he said, "This is where I come from. This is the scale that we use." And he was curious to find out what he can do with that song with me. And I had a piano downstairs here, and he went on the piano and I took up my sitar. And one song we played for about 2 hours, just playing. He recorded it and he went, and perhaps he made a record of it. I never followed up after that.
Oh.
But what I'm saying, that is one of them. I remember in Germany, where there were about 5,000 people. And somebody said, you know, there's a great keyboard player in the audience. So I called him up on stage. And when he came on stage, I told him, just stand with my keyboard player for a few minutes and listen to this song. And he stood and he listened and looked at my keyboard player. And when that guy went on the keyboard, it brought down the whole house.
Wow.
The point that I'm trying to make is that here it is, a guy from Germany could jump on a stage and play our music with the same understanding
As you.
as an Indian or an Trinidadian could play it. The point here is that there are certain elements that are common to all music. And once a person can grab on to those elements, you have fusion music.
So what do you think, you know, everybody thinks that, okay, Western music is there. Nobody will dream that an Indian classical instrument could be there. What is your audience response on such?
Well, you would have been to one or two concerts, several people here. The response to our music is two things. The elders love the music because it is sometimes based on long time music. The young people nowadays love the music, going crazy over it because it has a lot of techno in it. So what has happened is the music now
Suits everybody.
Suits everybody. I will tell you. Denise Plummer met me a few years ago and said, "Mungal, I have a story to tell you." I said, "What's that story?" She said, "My son, who's about 21 years old, came home one night and put on this music loud in her house. And when she comes out, she asked me, son, what happened? We're playing music so loud for?" He said, "Mommy, we saw a group playing at Woodford Cafe. And that group blew away all them other musicians. But you know, the boy loved the music so much, but Mommy is a set of old men playing the music." Well, meaning that what he meant is that we were all matured people playing this music, but yet a young 21-year-old could love this music so much. and take it and put it in his car and drive it up and down where he lives.
Yeah.
So that is the effect of diffusion. It is not only a juxtaposition or mixture of different genre of music. It is also a mixture of the young and old,
Correct.
and that is diffusion.
That is wonderful. But what do you think today in Trinidad and Tobago? What you think the caliber of music is? Like example, in the chutney industry, they copy. People say they copy from a Bollywood song to, let's say, Sathya to Girl I Know I Was a Drinker.
Yeah. Okay. Now, one thing people have to understand is that their music evolves. It has to start somewhere. And from that starting somewhere, it is evolving.
Yeah.
Now, chutney is one of the youngest music in Trinidad and Tobago.
Correct.
It comes like a young child.
Yeah.
The young child started to imitate the parents, and then eventually I started to imitate my brother, and I used to play the songs that my brother played, like Awara Hoon, and that dream sequence from Awara, and those kind of songs I used to play on mandolin, Chali Gore Piche Milan Ke Chale, and like that. And then I started to create my own music. Now, chutney is at a childhood stage, and it has the potential to develop into an art form that can dominate as well as reggae has. So what I'm saying is that rather than criticizing what the artists are doing, I admire them for taking whatever they could find
And making it their
and
own.
making it their own.
When what they have and what they believe.
Right. So with small and limited material, I have built a house.
Correct.
And that is what they are doing, building something. And I think they will get there because they have a lot of young artists now coming up, especially the musicians, not so much the singers, who are doing extremely well.
I can imagine.
Well, I also have a plan, Neha, to teach people in Trinidad how to intone singing that will sound like an Indian technique. Because as it is now, even the chutney singers, many of the chutney singers, except people like Viplal and Rakesh, they have lost the Indian ethos of the music. And that can be brought back by teaching a few simple skills and simple patterns that